Welcome, busy gamers. Today we're going to be looking at Cassette Beasts. If you're already familiar with my First Look series, feel free to skip straight to the section you're most interested in, and if not, let me walk you through what you're in for before we get started. So for me, those first few minutes of a game are crucial, setting a tone and determining if a game will really grab me. So for this series, I'll be bringing you along as I first step foot into a game. I'll be putting a timer up and playing for just 30 minutes. As I play during that 30 minutes, I'll be giving you my live thoughts and my reactions before giving you a short summary of my impressions of that time at the end. Cassette Beasts was developed by Bytten Studio and published by Raw Fury Games. It's a turn-based monster collector in the same vein as games like Pokemon and TemTem, with a greater focus on the story, narration, and exploration. The main thing I'm looking forward to here is its unique take on the collection method. In this game, you're the one that actually transforms into the monsters after you record them on a older classic tape. I think I'm going to really like that aesthetic, both with the music and cassette tape vibe and its overall art style. So let's find out and play Cassette Beasts now. Alright, off we go with Cassette Beasts here. So I want to give the caveat before we start that this game will not allow me to adjust the aspect ratio to fit a bit of a better video for YouTube. So there's going to be a bit of bars on this particular video, and for that I sincerely apologize. Unfortunately, it does not allow me to have a setting like I would usually do, where I would play in a 1920 by 1080. It's forcing me to play in the 3440 to 1440 aspect ratios. We're going to get a new game started and see how this goes. We have a quick Sir Gawain and the Green Knight reference, so kind of a nice little medieval feel to it. That is absolutely going to give me epilepsy. We're going to see how that goes. But really quickly, we will just go ahead and pick the name that I usually do for games, which is Alturus. We will make a male character. We will give myself a favorite color of blue. Skin color and everything is not going to matter to me a lot, meaning I'm just kind of into getting going with the game more than I am creating too custom of a sprite here, especially because it kind of looks like, you know, we're going to be on the pretty basic side with the graphics here, so I don't want to go too deep into that. And what else can we do with this? It's like we've got a little bit of a flicker in the graphics, so that is interesting. Hopefully that's not going to be a consistent issue for this one. It might struggle just a bit on that. We'll go ahead and create a character there. We get going. That is an awful lot of colored bars flying at me, so we're going to see if it explains that a little bit, kind of why we started that way. We are shipwrecked on the beach here. We've got a jump in the game, which is rare for games of this type, and then we have a dash. You tap it, it makes you dash, and then kind of stops. Hold it down, it looks like you actually get completely tired when it runs out, and you must stop. We've got overworld loot to interact with. A basic resource that can be exchanged. Wood, okay. I'm also not really used to like wood here, so that's a different feel. We'll see where we can get from here. I think overall it seems like the idea is to take short little bursts with your sprints. More than anything else, you don't really want to end up overall stopped. I feel like there's just a little bit of a stuttering in the overall graphics. And in all honesty, and we'll take you out here, I feel like the cutoffs are really harsh. So kind of here where the water is meeting up against the shore, this is very clearly just 100% square. You've got some weird break-ins on the graphics here. So while I thought I would like the retro aesthetic, it's a bit roughly done in my opinion. And so that's probably gonna take a little bit of my enjoyment away. The battle scenes and things of that nature is probably where we are going to focus, though. Got a little traffic cone crab, which I like as the idea of a modernized little monster, or like a junky type monster. I'm going to call it a traffic crab. And here is our summoning / capture device, this nice retro aesthetic. Quick question, what is your aesthetic? Okay, so I'm saying the word aesthetic too much here, but to be fair, it's on the screen now. spooky or sweet. I don't know that I would say I have either of these aesthetics. Interesting. Spooky or sweet. You know what? I don't feel like I'm feeling spooky this evening, though I do in general enjoy Halloween. Let's go with sweet because I'm feeling candy. A Can Devil. Okay. Can Devils possess the particular ability to generate sugary sweets from their bodies, which can be used as gifts or ballistic projectiles. Some find this charming, others argue it's actually very weird and gross. I would argue it's very weird and gross, so I think that is something to note. I've seen one of 128 monsters and recorded one of 128, so there are 128 to find. There's more information that I would gain over time. And like I said, we aren't actually summoning any of these monsters, we are becoming them, and so we're going to put our headphones on to do so. I think that's interesting. Okay, she's become a relatively cool looking monster. I will say I do not love my look, so maybe I should have gone with the spooky side, but hers looks pretty interesting. I will say regardless it looks like overkill. And then I would say I think this aesthetic is a bit rough as well. So I think overall, you know, kind of the white boxes for each of these, while clear, meaning I can see, you know, I've got a beast, I've got air, we've got plastic, which I think are interesting types. Overall, I feel like these are just a little too rough and too simple for me. Same thing for the menu here. We can fight, we can switch, we can use items, we can flee, or we can record. So let's click fight and let's see what we got going on. We can use a smack, which is a melee attack. It just hits a single target. And then Sugar Rush is my passive. So my speed is passively raised in proportion to the amount of health that I lose, which I do like. So there's not a whole lot for me to do here. We'll just select my fight. I apparently can also control this random person that has joined me. So that is interesting to see as well. Overall, I also feel like the music's just a little loud in this game, so we're going to turn it down a bit just in case that is too high for the video. Alright, we can call for help, chance to summon a temporary item, we can raise our evasion, or we can spit, which is just a general attack. Let's do call for help because I'm interested in seeing what that will be. Also, I just touched it one time and it died. I don't think I was expecting that. We are going to also get a ranged attack. So I had a melee attack, now I have a ranged attack. It's kind of interesting to see that. I don't know that I've seen that really come into play in the past. And we have plastic. So our resources have kind of been like building resources in most games more than anything else. Handled yourself pretty well up there. What is your name? Kaylee, and Kaylee is voice acted at least a little bit, meaning it says their name, so that's kind of interesting. I am for some reason wearing pajamas. I think overall it's probably going to take me a little while to get past some of the graphical... What I'm going to go with is probably graphical issues. Overall aesthetic is not terrible, but it's a bit too rough. And some of the areas that are kind of done 3D versus, let's say like the top railing of these houses versus the rope, that aesthetic changes bothered me a bit. Your new home, okay. Not very good at this part. I don't know how best to break the news. You're stuck here, we all are. Okay. So I am trapped here somehow. Wonderful. That's interesting to know. Music is far better than you usually get in a game like this, I will say that. It's got actual words to it. Transforming is a shock to the psyche. Harbortown happened to have a spare home. On Earth. Okay, so we're not on Earth. On an island called New World. Not strictly on Earth, at least that's what we think.
I'm afraid not.
And there's no way home. Okay. Castaways have been trying to get back into their worlds for a century. None have succeeded. Okay. I think this is a little interesting. Like, you're transferred into a completely different world. It explains a little bit more about that, instead of it just saying, like, you've got monsters. Okay. So, you can say hi to your neighbors, then you're going to go on patrol with this person. And this is the doctor. Maybe professor-y type. And it's going to be hard for me not to compare with, like, a Pokemon as well. This is a world we live in. Speak to Kaylee at the Harbor Town entrance. She left me a handbook. Can pull up all of that here. So let's see if we can find that handbook. We'll take a look at it really quickly. Resources, Ranger Handbook. There we go. You can read this to see what you've learned. Okay, so we're not out there yet. Elemental type chart. That's going to be useful. We found that in the book, so reading it was useful. We'll read it really quickly. Wow, okay, so there are quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different elemental types. Beast, air, astral, earth, fire, ice, lightning, metal, plant, plastic, poison, water, glass. Interesting. Ultimately could just work out to be similar to always, or similar to anything else for anybody else. Just that it might actually have a little bit of a different different naming convention, but work the same. Okay, so there is an internet aspect or an online aspect to the game. We have a wardrobe where I can change, it looks like. So we can have different jacket colors. That seems good and interesting. So you can do a little bit with your aesthetic at this stage. It's not bad. Browsers. Okay. So yeah, you can make yourself look a bit different. Probably look a little silly there. Doesn't really matter to me. So we'll kind of move on. I like that you get a whole house. I think it's interesting that they have decided that. Would I miss sports? Why can't we start a football team? No one to play against. When you have enough people, you can have a team all together with the town. You know what? Let's head straight to this first quest. Let's go ahead and try to meet up for patrol. Find out a little bit more about that core story versus talk to the general townsfolk.
Hey.
Errand. Alright. You see that path just there? There was a Quaker monster activity, cracks in the ground. Okay, so we're going to go check out the path. And she is going to give me the key day 1. I'm very trusted. And we're just going to leave this gate open. So, it looks like monsters are visible on the map. You're ready to turn into a monster again. Yeah, we're just going to go, I guess. Like pastel horned devil. Okay. Still very weird. It's a spring heel, and it's going to get aggressive with you if you get closer. You're going to get closer. Let's see how this works. Will it come chase me? It does not appear so. If it gets angry, there we go. Okay, I can make it come change me. Turned into our monster. Pay attention to orange squares. Their action points are AP. This move requires you to spend AP. If you don't have enough AP, you won't be able to use it this turn. Okay, so I start out with 2. 2 every turn, extra 1 if you land a type advantage attack. So the advantage in battle is that you get more actions instead of necessarily super effective hits, though it might do that as well. Okay, I generally like that. So my Bonbon Blast is going to take more action points than I have. I can just kind of smack it for now. I like it. We'll smack and spit. We'll see how that goes. Green bonds, monsters form health, and the red is yours. Interesting. So there are 2 health bars. You can lose health as well as the monsters. So that's interesting. So you're going to have different health bars for things you transfer into, as well as your own. Let's see if it'll let me record this. Oh, I don't have any blank tapes. So we will just do my more powerful attack and move on. I will also call for help over here. He's just going to continue to attack me, it seems like. But we should be done here. Alright, Sirenade learned Sonic Boom, immediately equipped it, and then we obtained Wheat, Wood, and Pulp. All very odd, kind of post-apocalyptic type things, I think. Okay, find a switch to turn an elevator on here. And we still don't really have the ability. It looks like the switch is up there. We still don't have the ability to capture any of these monsters. Ah, there's a button in there. Okay. Haley is now your partner. And Sirenade just becomes mine, it seems. I've seen 4 different monsters. I've recorded only 2 of them. Amplify their own singing voices through microphone tails and wings. So those are speakers and a microphone. Yep, seems good. Alright, we found a little switch in the cave. Not a lot of guidance for those things. Actually kind of prefer that. A couple of monsters up here, we'll see if they aggress. And we can rest at bonfire pits. Okay. So I can fight these guys to level up, and then I can heal there at that bonfire, and I think that seems really good. We're going to kind of do that. Just going to do a quick fight of this. We're going to kind of grind through a little bit of that, try to make sure we don't die. $59 experience points. We got some metal and some pulp. So again, we're kind of doing that grindy, farmy thing that I would see and be used to in a game like this. Maybe we don't need to do so. It's also good to know you can indeed find enemy fights that are 2v2. I should have assumed that, but I did not necessarily. And it looks like I should be a little bit worried here. Can't do our Sonic Boom yet, so we will spit, and we will do that at the Spring Heal. That Spring Heal just looks like a kid in a costume, which I feel very weird about. I also can't tell, all of these characters have always just attacked the person directly in front of them. I haven't necessarily seen them attack across the lane yet, so we're gonna have to see if that is possible. Either way, he probably won't get another attack. He will. And he did again, still attack directly in front of him. So still no proof that he could do other things. Getting a little bit close to a monster dying here. Well, not dying, being his tape being broken. Early levels seem to come pretty quick. We're most of the way through level 7 already. Our rest functionality looks like we can just say camp here. Resting costs resources. Okay, so it's going to cost me wood basically to rest. And this is how you would access your tape storage, so I'd be able to send things away. You can see our party of Kaylee here. So I assume even if we had more monsters, that this would be shared between the two of us, meaning I could have Kaylee turn into Candevil, potentially. Either way, we will go ahead and rest here, get that quick heal. I will note again, the graphics just kind of throwing me off. Like the tints are pretty solid and well done, and then everything else around it's almost fuzzy. It has become nighttime, and so that does actually change in the world. I apologize, I'm covering the map with my body in this particular shot. But the map itself is pretty low on detail. I don't think I would worry about being able to see that or not. Okay, we can jump up to this treed area. I don't know why we would, but we can. Kind of just like the idea that you can explore a little bit, that moving up and down is jumpable, is a workable thing. There'll be monsters about, but we can take them. There's kind of a person hanging out over here as well. Can you run before you washed up recently? I will say, as somebody who grew up in the era that rewinding tapes could be done with pencils and things of that nature, I approve of that, and I find that to be very, very interesting and entertaining. Does she have wings? I feel like when she jumped up, she had wings. That's probably not important. Alright, let's go ahead to that broken area. Can't jump up this, that's a little too high. Question is, why do I want that monster to come over here? It seems bigger than other monsters. I know that I want to make it angry. Yeah. Nope. Come on, monster. Well, making it come over here does not consist of just getting mildly close to it. Makes sense. But we can put a light on and the moth will come.
Okay.
Records monster forms with a normal effects efficiency rate.
Well.
Okay. So yeah, weaken them and you can capture them. Makes complete sense. I am not 100% sure why it wants me to attempt to record it without damaging it. I'm sure it's a free recording early on. 1 in 4 chance there. Interesting. I guess I stay recording it until it records, which I kind of like that as an overall effect. Instead of you weaken it first and then you kind of have a chance, like a Pokeball or something of that. Defenders of Peace, patrolling the skies in woodland areas, they can be distracted by bright lights. Yep. It's a moth. Recording succeed or not is down to chance. Several factors affect probability, level and rarity, damage dealt to while recording, how much damage the person recording it took, so that probably makes it worse. As long as the monster is being recorded, it cannot flee or be defeated, so you don't have to worry about knocking it out. That's actually really nice. Determined by stickers attached to the tape. You can give new moves to the tape by applying stickers from your inventory. Moves you don't want can be peeled as stickers from your inventory. Okay, I like that as well. Fielding tapes experience point bars give you stickers. Chests and caches, you can have them, and merchants. Okay, and then it has a breakdown of kind of its skills. I can rename it, so it's still kind of my pet. Even though I become it, I can still rename it. That's interesting. Okay, can change my tape. I would then become the moth, and I would fight here. No reason to do the sonic boom. We'll just spit at it again. So it's a little interesting. So I've captured it, but it is still fighting me.
Right.
I feel like if I was a monster and I was fighting something and then it became me, it would throw me off and I would probably leave. Early moves are pretty simple. We're just kind of moving through with some smacking. Alright, so we gain a ranged attack, pretty high power, and some pulp and some wood. Enough to sleep for the night, and since it takes 4 to recover your health. There's a resource involved. And now I'm flying. Some monster forms give us extra abilities beyond just being able to take their shapes. That is really excellent, actually. That's pretty cool. So I can now X to glide across long distance, but it does consume my stamina. So she probably did have wings earlier. And now I have the ability, I could go and record one of those little traffic cones as well. I don't actually have to do anything for my wings, it looks like. So as long as I jump into the air across it, I do just kind of... Nope, I do not. Maybe I have to hold it down. Yep, I have to hold it down. Hold it down, you'll fly over it. That works well. These little random switches. It's not apparent that they do something specific. Okay, so basically I get a boost that I can just fly over. Does that stay on permanently is the question. And I guess these vines are climbable? They are not.
Huh?
Feel like I should probably find a heal before we enter into a boss battle, but I don't feel to the point that I'm necessarily unable to fight. Oh, that was a lot of damage. And a building just came out of the ground. That's not what you expect. Never seen anything like this before. Has it been buried here? Okay, so yep, we just brand new building just popping out of the ground. I mean, at least she's appropriately freaked out about it. And it's a train station. Abandoned train station. This is how horror movies start, and so I'd be out. I don't think, as a general rule, personal me would record this, especially because clearly weird things have happened. Yeah, and smells like burning metal. That's also not a positive. Not something you want to hear. Poison pollen. Okay, so we got a sticker, so an ability that I could apply to a creature that I can become. I don't know that I can feel something in the air. I would assume there's about to be a train, though. There's a ghost. Honestly, a mildly creepy ghost, all things considered. Okay. The long conflict is drawn to an end. I'm afraid he has defeated me truly this time. I think this is an archangel.
No. Oh no.
A broken spirit, an archangel. Okay. I think this is very interesting. That was the best graphically that the game has done as well. I'm not sure it looks beatable though. Oh, it's level 100. It's not beatable. Should I just be fleeing? Can't get away. Okay. So this is a forced loss, which I don't love.
I refuse.
Gonna fight this thing. We're gonna do it together. Ah, so it's a fusion thing. When your goals are aligned with those of your companion, you can fuse to become singular, far more powerful beast. The closer you are, the more powerful you are as a fusion. Okay, so there's a relationship building aspect to this as well. That could be interesting. 4 AP instead of 2, more powerful moves. Okay. Types are added together, access to both types. Okay, let's see how this goes. It still didn't really seem to do a lot of damage, if I'm being honest. So we can do dodging. In all honesty, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot we can do. So we'll try to raise our attack. Those attacks are, again, kind of cool. So the little boss fight, while it seems a little coded to maybe be a loss, or maybe be a win, but to seem like it should have been a loss, it does look cool comparatively, and it has good music. Just kind of spam our most powerful attack and see if it lets us win. Right now it seems we're stuck in this kind of miss versus miss. I did make the assumption that it wouldn't let me record that, so I did not try that at all. I will admit. Stamina's up. I can glide for longer. Okay.
Very well.
It's got dark all of a sudden. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know which one I would rather talk about. Okay, so it has been our first 30 minutes. We're going to go ahead and put the controller down. We're going to give you some quick overall thoughts. I'm going to hit pause on this. I would say from the first 30 minutes, my main thoughts are as follows. The good, I think there is an interesting and a little bit creepy story here that I am interested in finding. I think having the jump, having a little bit of more of a platformer type puzzle aspect to the overall overworld of a game like Pokemon is interesting, and I like that aspect as well. So there's a couple positives to it. It's a little too soon to say whether the combat is going to be terribly deep. The music overall is good. I have enjoyed it. It's been calming. It's been fun when it needs to be, instead of just kind of the 8-bit aesthetic, which I really expected based on the overall art style. I would say the art style is the biggest negative for me here. It has really thrown me off. There are areas where it just feels really, really poorly done, and then there are areas like the Kaylee's character model and drawing over there off to the side, which I actually think is pretty nice. And so there are moments where things look interesting, things look good, and there are moments where they look absolutely terrible, and where I feel like we have some clipping issues, some almost buggy type issues, but it has a fun little charm, and I think I'm interested in seeing whether there's more depth to the combat than I was able to see in this first 30 minutes. And the story, I think, will keep me hooked long enough to do that. All that I think is good, and I will likely be able to give you a lot more detail during the review. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time, and have a great time gaming.